Welcome back to the final movie of season 24, Universal Soldier. I'm your host, Boston. Join me as always is Moonpeer.
Hi, that's how you can tell how messed up our schedule has become,
Mm-hmm.
is the hesitation in which you say
Season
final episode,
20
season
something
24.
of current season that you're listening to. The final movie, most likely, is Universal Soldier from
Yes.
1992. There we go. We're ready. Can you tell
Uh-huh.
it's time for us to record end of year stuff? Not at all.
Yes.
Yeah. So this one is the Van Damme movie out of the three. We're hitting the
Uh-huh.
old JCVD. Shouldn't have even tried that. Knew that wasn't going to happen. Uh,
Uh-huh.
the old TVGP here, starring in this movie. Um, I I was trying to remember. I feel like out of all three of these '90s action stars we've watched movies from in
Okay.
this season, I feel like this is the one I know the least about. I don't even
Uh-huh.
remember if I've seen it. And I feel like Van Damme is probably the guy whose movies I've seen the least out of these three actors.
So that's the funny thing for me is when I was growing up, he was the one who I had seen the most of.
Oh, okay. So
But only, weirdly enough, only his Western stuff. Like, not really any of his, or rather, not really his Western stuff, more like his modern things. Like, I'd never really seen any of his classics. Like, it took years for me to watch Bloodsport, which is one of his best.
right,
And I had seen all of his crap before I saw his quote unquote great stuff.
right. Well, you start with your vegetables and then you end with dessert, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you've seen Universal Soldier.
Yes. And also, I have seen the. So this is a weird one because Universal Soldier is considered a classic, but also it is considered a bad movie.
Okay.
Um, Also, probably it's considered a bad movie if I'm honest, because it does have like seven straight to DVD sequels. Uh,
One of those. Okay.
One of those where
Mm-hmm.
like of the time period, it did really well, and then they thought, now we need to put as many of these in rental stores as possible, so people
Yep.
will rent every single Unisol movie. Which, minor spoilers, I keep calling it Unisol because that's the name of the MacGuffin in the movie. It's the Unisol,
Okay. Great.
which stands for Universal Soldier. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
smushed down.
Oh man. Okay. Uh, I. It's funny that you mentioned the direct to video sequels because I feel like around this time, do you remember those CG movies that were the
Final
uh
Fantasy: The Spirits Within. Yes, I remember it well.
yes, the most famous, yeah, Honolulu made. No, there was the ones where they were like army men. They weren't like the little green pieces. And I'm not getting this confused with the Army Men games that came out on
Are
PS1 where
you
there
thinking
was
about
like,
Toy Soldiers?
yeah, toy soldiers. Um, I feel like that was one that was like maybe there was 15 of those that came out all at the same time. Um,
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me. I,
yeah.
if memory serves, though, I'm pretty sure that Toy Soldiers is widely regarded as one of the best one of those movies that never got its due with like sequels and stuff.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hmm.
Goodness. Does that have Van Damme in it too?
Oh, I wouldn't put it past
is
her.
is that is that where the connective tissue is in my brain?
Well,
Um,
yeah, Toy Soldiers is also a kids movie, though.
hmm Yeah, what is it? 1991? Nope, that's the other Toy
Not
Soldiers
that
movie.
one.
Yeah, the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, I I have to laugh because I looked at the poster for Universal Soldier when I was getting it ready to put here on the video version, and it just says
Uh-huh.
Jean Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. I was like, of course it has Dolph Lundgren in it. How
I was
how
gonna
could I
say,
how could I have
do you
assumed anything
know?
else?
Do you know the accidental pickup that we've got in this one? Which
Yes.
is Dolph Lundgren, one of the other action stars of the same time frame, who arguably never got his due until like the late 20s, like 2020-ish, because
Yeah,
2017 onwards, I would say, was when Dolph Lundgren finally started to get his appreciation.
I feel like there was in like popular culture, I would agree because I feel like there was at some point everyone was like, "Hey man, this dude has been working for decades and has been in so many incredible movies. Maybe he's actually pretty good."
Uh-huh. And
Yeah,
it also helps that very much like those do you know people, which
right.
I can't remember what website did it, but there was the great articles like a bunch of facts to know before you watch Lord of the Rings with a Lord of the Rings nerd was like, did you know, for example, that Aragorn kicking the helmet, he broke his toe when he did it,
Right.
and
The
they
like
kept that
famous.
cut. Yeah, that type of stuff.
Yep.
The one of that for Dolph Lundgren was very much like, oh, did you know he's also like a PhD in like biochemistry or something like that? Like he is a
Oh, really?
certified genius.
Goodness.
Um, and he's a world champion kickboxer, by the way, Boston.
Oh,
So
no big deal.
no big deal. Like the
Yeah.
dude, frequently we have joked on this show and many other versions of our show about Drew Scanlon being the peak of human beingness.
Right.
There's a couple of them. There's Drew
The world's
Scanlon.
most interesting man.
Yeah, also sexy as hell, smart, well
Right.
traveled, the usual. Idris Elba could be in that list as well, I think. But I think if we're going to actually get down to brass tacks, it's Dolph Lundgren. Like,
Right.
dude is a movie star, certified genius, and also world champion martial artist.
Yeah, I
Like,
do a little bit of kicking and some boxing and also like sequencing the human genome. No big deal.
uh-huh.
It's all in a day's work.
I saw an interview recently, actually, about Dolph Lundgren, and it was Sylvester Stallone talking about filming Rocky 4. Spoiler alert, Dolph is in Rocky 4. He's the "if he dies, he dies" famous quote.
Right.
And he said to Dolph, let's just go, like, before we do the choreography, just come at me. Like, just really come at me with everything you've got for like 20, 30 seconds, and then we'll go into choreography and everything else. Just to get some realistic shots, like, in the can kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He puts Stallone in the hospital.
It's like that meme with the boxer where it's like, yeah, come at me. And he's sitting down and he's like, wow, this guy's got hands. Goodness. I messed up, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Dolph Lundgren. Like, I genuinely love Dolph. He's been in horrendous stuff, but also great stuff too. Like,
Sure.
everyone knows Dolph from something.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm kind of excited to see the two of them in this as kind of a big dude pairing, like a big action dude pairing here in a movie I know
Well,
a little bit
you
about.
you say big.
No, not like side of beef big. I'm more like popularity big.
I was doing a height joke because the poster is probably their real heights.
Yeah, I've heard that Van Damme is on the shorter side for an action star.
Yes, and Dolph is 6'5".
Oh, okay. Well, compared to Dolph,
He's gonna make everybody look small.
That's right. That's right. I don't really know too much about this movie. My hope is, and it's been buffeted by using Unisol, is that I hope this is one of those 90s movies that's about the impending tech-based warfare, where it's like you have an like a Solid Snake eye patch thing that's also like a VR projector thing, and you have cyber guns, and you have like a little robot buddy. Maybe I just wanted this to be MGS4. I don't know. But that's my hope of like something, especially from 92, where it's like, all right, we got some CG we can do here, and we can do this kind of like cool cyber grid lines you see on everything. All right, let's talk about the impending cyber war.
So you think this is like a prequel to Terminator kind of thing? Like,
yeah, maybe Terminator Zero.
Terminator Zero Universal Soldier would be a great movie.
Would be pretty
I'm
good.
not gonna lie.
Hollywood, hit us up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you are.
Yeah, I'm other than that, I'm not too sure because I feel like this. If we're talking about kind of cultural osmosis, I feel like Universal Soldier isn't really the one you talk about. It's really Bloodsport from Van Damme. Um,
Yes.
I
Universal Soldier is one of those, like you said, Bloodsport is probably his most popular one.
mhm.
I think Universal Soldier is the action movie one. So like if you were deep into
Ah,
action movies, that would it always got mentioned with the other action movies of its time.
right,
Uh like True Lies and all of that kind of stuff, and people would always slide Universal Soldier in on the back end of that list, we'll
right. And
say.
he was also in this thing at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Right. Hmm. Yeah. So I this is probably the one I'm most I'm excited. Might not be the right word. I'm excited to watch all these movies. Except for Suicide Squad. But I'm interested to watch this movie just because it seems like it has a lot of promise with the two leads here, but I know such a small amount of what this movie really is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I obviously know exactly where you're getting how close you are to this. I'm very curious
Right.
to see what your takeaway from this is if I'm
Right.
putting my hand in the air.
Well, we've had fun with the last two movies of this season, so I'm hoping that we have fun watching this one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I, there's so much I want to say.
I know.
Like because I think you'll find the concept to this and the thoughts behind it really cool.
Mm,
It's also 1992.
right. So it's kind of uh it's how do I put movies from 92 that are like focused? It's kind of uh excited and terrified about the internet kind of all at the same time. Like there's like look at this wide open expanse of digital freedom we can have. Also cyber drugs and
We
warfare.
have the perfect movie, by the way,
Mm.
to show that exact thing that you're talking about.
Hmm.
Another 1992 movie,
Yeah,
The Lawnmower Man.
it's true. True. Lawnmower Man, which also in 2023 has gotten a resurgence because they put the black and white version out in theaters and was like, oh, wait, this movie's incredible. This is how it should have been seen at the originally. Wow. Okay.
Never seen the black and white version. I've barely seen Lawnmower Man, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild stuff. All right. Any final thoughts here for Universal Soldier before we go watch it?
No, I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've seen this one. I'm very curious if it's holds up, we'll say.
Right. In what way does
But
it hold up?
yes, the
Yeah.
question I have is does it have a message? Like,
Oh yeah. What is the
Six Day had
soul?
Six Day had a message. I hate you so much. It was the hand motion that did it for
That's
me.
right. The soul. Got to get the
Um,
soul spirit fingers here.
True.
Yeah. All right. On that note, let's go watch the film.
Yeah.
We're back. We've seen the film. We have seen the Universal Soldiers.
Chilled out,
Chilled,
one might say.
chilled out. Put on ice. Um, I wasn't expecting this movie to start in Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's just like 1969 Vietnam, and it's like wait, what? Huh, what?
Uh-huh.
Which makes sense for the rest of the movie, but that was a little bit of a little bit. I was gonna say tonal whiplash, but it was a heck of an intro. Um,
Yes, it was.
you've seen this movie before, right?
Correct. I have
Okay.
seen this movie before.
I didn't really like this movie.
It is not a good movie, definitely. It is definitely regarded as a quote unquote bad movie.
Yeah, I can see why people might like this movie. I don't
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an unwatchable mess. I think there's some stuff in here that's pretty good, but just kind of a little bummed that it wasn't more solid, I guess. Um,
Okay. In what way?
I feel like the it's sort of the point of the movie that all of these soldiers are these like emotionless killing machines.
Mm-hmm. So soldiers.
Heyo, got him.
Hey, military industrial complex.
But I think that works against the movie a lot because there's nothing. I like the actress that plays Veronica. I think she's really good. I think she's really consistently good throughout the entire movie. But there's nothing really for her to play off of for the entirety of the movie because Van Damme's
Mm-hmm.
character is just, yes, I need to save you. I need to
Yes.
run.
He is
Ah,
very stone.
yeah.
Stone. He's very unemotive.
Yeah. Whatever that term is.
Stoic. That's the word I was looking
Aha,
for.
there it is. Could you tell we're both tired? Um
Uh-huh.
so I think for me, like her intro is fantastic because she comes, screaming onto this dam in this station wagon and is pulling up like 2 seconds before they're going live with a cigarette in her mouth. It's just like, all right, yeah, cool. This lady, all right, this lady's all right. I like this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, that dam scene has some pretty good action in it, like some pretty good infiltration action of all these the team members working together. Um, the one guy coming back to life to shoot the bad guy with the bomb was pretty all right.
Yep. Did you recognize him at all, by the way? Out of
I
curiosity.
recognized him, but I couldn't put a name to the face.
He's the German from the Gladiator. Um, he's
Oh,
one of Russell Crowe's buddies.
gotcha. Okay. Um, and like that stuff is okay, and I think a lot of the thing I usually don't like in these movies is the kind of like behind the scenes military, like I need to get this thing done. I don't care about the lives of blah 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 blah. Um, but I thought that stuff was actually pretty interesting in this with them saying like, yeah, these are literally disposable units. Like we can
Uh-huh.
bring them back to life. So I really don't care what happens to them at all.
No
Um,
injuries, no fatalities, dude.
that's right. Everything is totally fine. Um, I I think that stuff works pretty well, but I think my frustration was I think I like a lot of that stuff, and I think the movie starts really strong. But once the two of them are kind of off on their own little road trip, I
Uh-huh.
think you get some scenes that are okay. Like I think there's a lot of good comedy in the motel they go to,
Uh-huh.
where the guy keeps like charging her $20 more as he's going. Like
Yes.
that's pretty good.
Scumbag motel owner, yes.
Yeah, I think that stuff's pretty good. Um, but for the middle part of the movie, I wish there was a little bit more to the action other than the two of them are running away and a bunch of big meaty dudes are pouring hundreds of bullets into the side of wherever they are. Um,
Uh-huh.
as I feel like there's some pretty good stuff bookending this movie because some of the stuff at the end is solid. Um, but I think the middle stuff is where it kind of falls flat for me a little bit because it seems like it's kind of the same action scene over and over again. Uh,
Yeah, you don't like the questionable body moments where he's like, is that supposed to be there? Um,
uh-huh. I do,
or the knife in the leg moment.
oh, I do like the gas station attendant of just being like, "What are you doing in there?" Um,
Uh-huh.
that guy was pretty good, especially him hiding back in the trunk full of ice, just being like, nope, not doing this. Like, we don't.
Yep.
I love watching these movies because it's such a stark contrast to what we have today in the kind of like MCU poisoned action movie stuff where it's kind of a meme at this point of like, well, that happened. That we kind of get that in a lot of movies nowadays, but it's kind of refreshing to see this kind of different take on comedy in these movies that we necessarily don't get nowadays. So, like when the motel owner is it's being like, shame on you to his mom or whatever, which she's admiring.
And she does the smile.
Yeah, like, that's pretty good. Like, that's that's a good moment. But I had a hard time with this movie because I think the middle sags pretty significantly. But then we get some really good stuff at the end, like
the farm fight and the false ending kind of scene.
Well, even before that, I think there's some really interesting stuff in the supermarket where, like,
Dolph.
Yeah, his like military conditioning is coming out about, like, I'm gonna say some terribly racist things.
Yeah. Oh boy.
About these people
some
we
words
just
that get thrown around.
Yeah, like, but it's interesting because you see the military conditioning coming back and like the dehumanization of the Vietnamese coming back out as he's reliving the moments right before his death, where they're all kind of stuck in time 25 years ago when they died.
And the war is over, which Luke Devereaux, by the way, is a good name. Which Luke really finds out by watching television. And I do like the fact that, I think this is pointed out somewhere, it's an American Army unit with a Belgian.
Right.
I think Dolph is Finnish, and Rolf, who is the other guy,
right,
a German.
Right. You got a little bit of everything.
U.S. Army unit from Vietnam. Sure. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, I like the fact Dolph Lundgren performs really well in this as a soldier who has completely lost his marbles before he even gets taken, before he gets killed. And I say lost his marbles, I probably should say has severe PTSD before he gets killed.
And of course, the thing he goes back to when he realizes that he's fighting in a war is that necklace of ears, which is like, yep, still terrible. Goodness, boy.
Can I talk to you, Captain Scott? I'm all he is.
That's
one of the darkest humor lines in this movie.
Him just delivering it straight was just like, yeah, that's pretty great. Also terrible. Jeez.
Yep. It's. Yeah. I think his performance is genuinely great. I like the fact that he clicks on the ice trick before anybody else does. He kills pretty much all of the commanding officers, which is an interesting moment. When he takes over the super truck, which came in an airplane, by the way.
Super truck is pretty cool, man. I like a good super truck.
I like the fact that it pulls up next to like 18-wheelers and it makes them look like minivans.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good scene to give you an idea of exactly the scale of this thing. Which is, I like that truck. I want one of those trucks, for the record.
I also like the team of scientists that are on the super truck too. Those are pretty good. Like, I feel like it avoids a lot of the scientist tropes of like pushing up my glasses that have duct tape on them and, well, actually a commanding officer, sir, the temperature, the blah blah blah. It's like, okay, like there's the cool kind of almost kill switch built into them of their bodies getting too hot, and they have that little wristband thing that tells them that they're getting overheated. And I like that they do an okay job explaining the science of like, oh, we figured out we could just like bring back dead tissue by, doing this and like superheating them, and it's a acceleration, but boy, they certainly get hot. And it's like, okay, I think you explained it
Uh-huh.
enough to be interesting, but not over explained it in a way that would be kind of boring.
Yeah, they did the best trick you can do with fake tech, which is you explain it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You go over the top.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't have to. No, that's a Slice Doll movie. You cover just enough.
And then they're like, "Oh, what's in the injection things?" It's like, wipes their memory or something, rebooting memories, whatever. Don't worry about it. It's like, yeah, sure,
Uh-huh.
I can take that. Um,
The
but yeah,
Unisol project
the
is a good name.
Unisol project. Yes, that is really is pretty good. Um, you talked about the fake out ending
Uh-huh.
at the end of this, which
I'll,
I thought. Did you
they're
ever
like
see?
they always wave away his accent by saying he's from Louisiana. Which I do
Right.
like the fact that she says, what about your accent? And he says, what accent? Which is
It's just
gold.
really. It's just like, bro.
Acknowledge it and move on. Like that's
Yeah.
the best you can do.
Yeah. Did you ever see Club Dread? That like
No.
riff horror movie. So this isn't this. I guess this is a spoiler for Club Dread. Um, but in the end, the bad guy like dies and comes back 4 or 5 times. It's like very
Oh
much
my
the
god.
trope of just like, oh, we got him for sure this time, and then it comes out of the water like grabbing. That's what this reminded me of, where it's like, yep, you impaled him on a ton of spikes. He's definitely dead this time. Whoops, nope.
The scream
He's
moment.
Yeah, like he's really trying to kill you. I really do like how he eventually does kill him by just grinding him up, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
probably not
She
coming
chippers
back
him.
from that one. So
uh
yeah.
I think a lot of like I like a lot of this final sequence. I like the fact that he it goes through this whole thing of like Scott has been taking like muscle enhancers this entire movie.
Yeah.
So of course he's gonna kick Luke and he's gonna go flying halfway across the yard and through a barn door because that's what
Mm,
he's been doing. And I like the fact that like Luke has to do a little shooting up himself to get even kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
He doesn't do the jump splits kick though, which I noticed, which becomes a Van
Yeah.
Damme trademark.
Yeah. Um yeah, I there's some good stuff in there. I feel like it's actually a fairly good fight scene. I was laughing to myself watching the end fight scene here when it's the one-on-one, as I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
of the how the Fast and Furious movies have kind of devolved into, I'm gonna uppercut you through like 2 floors above
Ceiling,
us.
yeah.
And this one is
John
a lot
Cena's
of,
going to do his finishing move through a roof. Yeah, the
yeah,
usual.
yeah, and I was kind of laughing at this, that I was enjoying how kind of quaint it feels, where it's just two dudes punching each other into like um uh uh into bales of hay, where it's just sort of
Uh-huh.
like, oh no, you got me, oh, I fell into the wall, oh no, instead of just like we're calling out our super move and then like a blue tiger
Not
fist comes out.
reacting.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and then like contractually it's like, well, I can't get a bloody lip because that would make me
Uh-huh.
not look so tough. And this one's just like, yeah, Van Damme is like, he's getting messed up at the end of this movie. Like,
Oh, 100%, dude.
yeah,
He gets messed up most of the movie. Like, he's
yeah,
constantly getting hurt and damaged in many different ways. Did you catch the director, by the way? Which is my very first note that I made.
yeah. It's a Roland Emmerich joint,
Uh-huh.
which is pretty good. Feels right. I'm a super big fan of Independence Day, so I'll always be a stand for Independence Day, as cheesy as it is.
Oh, you're missing his most important piece of work.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Stargate.
Oh, of course, Stargate. Yeah. How could I forget
Uh-huh.
Stargate? The
Exactly.
the super classic of man. I should watch
He
Stargate.
went
Should
from
watch
Universal
Stargate again.
Soldier to Stargate. That
Talk
was his
about like
next movie, dude.
talk about a serious like jump in quality, man.
Oh,
Ah,
dude. I
Stargate's
mean,
real
like,
good.
he went Universal Soldier, Stargate, Independence Day, and then Godzilla. But we don't talk about 1998
Yeah,
Godzilla.
Godzilla was
It's a
funny.
good movie. I like that movie, but I don't
It's
want to start the hate.
no, yeah, we don't want to open that up, but you know, there are some. It. I was also laughing because I love practical effects, especially really good practical stunt stuff. We got that
There's a
plane to
lot of that in
plane
this.
stuff in Cliffhanger last time,
Uh-huh.
and man, did we get a really cool scene with the prison bus and the super truck of the two of
Uh-huh.
them kind of going back and forth, like
Backwards and
pushing each
forwards.
other,
Yeah.
like and apparently 3,000 grenades that he just has in the super truck for some reason. Um,
It's a super truck, so of course
that's
he does. Like it shows that shot of him sitting in the passenger seat, and
mhm.
he's surrounded by guns.
It's so good. It's like that moment in the Matrix where it's just like, here's all the guns, and you know they
Uh-huh.
all, yeah, yeah. There's I liked a lot of that that stuff actually with the sort of truck to bus chase. Um,
Uh-huh.
a really good like, you should check on your driver. He's not looking too
Because
hot.
that's
It's like, oh yeah,
yes,
real
he
good.
is so good.
It's
Like
so
Dolph is so
smarmy.
good in this movie. Like he just doesn't care, and it's
Yeah.
so good to the fact. I feel like this is his movie 100%. Like
Yeah.
just his performance, his humor, his acting, everything in this just feels so appropriate.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. It's like I think this movie is fine.
Yeah.
I don't. It's definitely not one of the best
Right.
like movies ever made. But I think it was a really dumb action movie. Like I think it works out pretty well.
It's a fun ride to be sure. Like I think uh I use this term with endearment that it feels very much like a TBS Saturday afternoon movie where it's like
Uh-huh.
not the thing you need to watch 100% closely, and you're gonna kind of have a great ride. Nowadays you're gonna kind of, you know, look at your phone at the same time, and you're not really gonna miss anything. um it's one of those types of action movies, and you're gonna have a pretty good time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I was maybe hoping for a little bit more out of this one.
Yeah. So there is 6 Universal Soldier movies.
Woof. Okay.
You remember how in the part 1 we talked about how like let's just get this on like video so we can go straight to
Yep.
rentals kind of situation.
Get the blockbuster
Univer-
special here.
Universal Soldier 2, Brothers in Arms, that came out September 27th, 1998.
Okay.
Universal Soldier 3, Unfinished Business, came out October 24th, 1998.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, yeah.
Just dumping those out, man.
And then
Yikes.
it was like a year for the next one, and then 11 years for the one after that.
Oh goodness. Oh man. Yikes. Well, let's talk about ratings here real quick. Universal Soldier has a 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Has a 34% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. Older movies like this are a little weird, though, because the ratings are always a little bit odd. It has a 46% audience score, and on Letterboxd is a
Uh-huh.
3.0 out of 5.
Eh,
Not unfair, I don't think, for many of those. The 3.0 is probably maybe a little. 3 out of 5 is probably like a little bit higher than I would give it. I'd probably be in like the 2.5 range,
uh-huh.
where it's like just a solid, okay movie kind of throughout.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy it. It's not a great movie, but I enjoy it for all its dumb, stupid fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
the dummy going through the windshield after the buckle up joke is hilarious for the record.
Yep. I mean, there's some pretty good moments in here. I just kind of wish that the action, for me, the action I thought it needed to be a little bit stronger, kind of through the middle. But it definitely ends
Mhm.
on a high note, starting at that bus chase. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure this was probably done on a min.
hi
Hi,
Louise.
Louis. um, Pretty sure this was done on a nothing budget kind of
Budget
thing.
was $23 million. So
So not a whole lot.
yeah, not a whole lot for like a big kind of action movie like this. Um,
Hmm.
so uh,
So if it makes you feel any better,
sure.
later movies don't have Van Damme skips this all the way through to like Universal 4. Unisol
Oh,
4 is
I'm
basically when Van Damme
surprised.
comes back. It
I'm surprised he comes back at all.
was 99, so that was towards the tail
Oh,
end of
okay.
Van Damme's fun.
Sure.
Um, but we do get people like Michael Chai White who join the series,
Ooh, okay.
who is one of the most unsung heroes of action movies
Oh,
ever.
absolutely.
Like,
Yep.
the dude is a legitimate killer who also like is a fantastic actor and a genuinely great guy from everything I've seen with him. Like when he's talking, he seems like one of the nicest people around.
Oh, nice. Um, all right. Well, now that we're done with our season 24, let's do a quick little rankaroo here and move on our way to our next season. We got three
Okay, I
movies.
can go.
Okay, go ahead. Number 3. Hit it
I
up.
I no, I can go in order. One, two, three. Let's hit
Oh,
this.
okay. All right.
One is Cliffhanger, two is 6 Day, three is Universal Soldier.
I have 1 and 2 switched for me.
6 Day is better.
Yeah. But it's
I could on any given day I could do that, to be completely honest.
those two are neck and neck though.
Mm-hmm.
Like both of them are really good for a lot of different reasons. Um I'm with you. I feel like you could ask me tomorrow, I'd be like, of course Cliffhanger's number 1. Why wouldn't it be? Um
Yeah.
but yeah, I really liked both of those. And like we said, Universal Soldier is fine, but those other two I feel like are much stronger than this one. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 2 thumbs up. Thanks, 90s action movie stars. Those movies are still pretty good. We
Yes, they
appreciate
are. So before we sign off, you mentioned something about wanting to go watch Stargate again.
it. Yeah.
You know, there are like 3, 4 TV shows that spin off from that movie,
I
and
I try not to think
I'm
about
just
it because that's a lot of
I'm
time.
just I'm just saying that there's content #content in there
That's
somewhere.
true. That's right. Yeah. Goodness, don't start us down that rabbit hole.
Hey,
We'll never be done.
if Nim hadn't seen them, we'd be doing the Stargate show, but he's seen them all, so
Yeah,
I can't do that.
that's true. That's true. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. This is the end of season 4. We'll be back next time, season 25. Bye.
Bye.